Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I want to talk on preparing as a three-man militia. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can on it. I've got hundreds of videos talking about the tactics, and but now I want to talk about mainly the gear kind of stuff that you're going to be needing. There's the three-man militia is nothing like as I've been here in the States. I try to make connections with anybody, and militias is one of the things. And one thing I've noticed, there is a place for militias. There is more of a need for three-man militias, and that's because, like I say, the three-man militias they're skilled in different aspects of support. And the main thing the three-man militia is for is your family, protection for your family, your neighbors, your local community. And so their priorities, the three-man militia priorities, are different than most anything else. And this is why I want to cover all the stuff that I've been doing to prepare to get myself ready. One thing in the way of clothing, I do have military style clothing, and when I talk about that, I'm talking about the camouflage kind of stuff, and just all the stuff like that. I do use Molly gear. I've talked about. Okay, now see, the smart people in that do combat learn from their adversaries, I think is the word, and you pick up things from them. You noticed now the military is using the sama or something like that, the big scarf thing. They've learned the different uses for it and stuff like that. I've got a ton of those, all different colors and materials, and it's used for, you do your homework, it's used for a lot of stuff. And like I say, talking about the uniform, you really need one set of some kind of combat gear in the way of uniforms. They're a heavy material, and like I say, they're mainly militaries dress the way they do for intimidation. So three-man militias, we are not intimidating. That's because we're real people. So that's why that's not a big priority, but it is something you do need, because there may be times that you will have to dress up in, what do they call them, wannabe type military people. So you might want to have the stuff to do it in case the time comes where you have to look the part. But I've also, you've seen my, I've gone to the desert tan stuff, and I'm in my area is a wooded area, so we got a lot of trees, we got water, we got a lot of stuff like that. So you would think that brown would stand out, but the reason I like the brown, and you saw it, I paint it, and so I can the light tan like that. It's easier to change colors whatever I need, and so I don't need all the different stuff. And Because another thing about my beliefs, anyway, is you don't want to put all your money in all this stuff. That's, most of us have limited resources, so you don't want to waste any more than you have to. Jeans, like I say, regular clothes is what mainly we're going to use. Talk about the 3-man meet and greet. Now they're a different kind of thing, and that's my main thing, is what I do. And so the weapons, I don't really want to get into the weapons so much, but every country that I go to, every time I come up against people, I see what kind of weapons they use, and I learn their weapons. So that's why I'm into so many different weapons. So I'm not saying you need to do that, but it's nice to have options, because they're not always firearms. And then we're back to gold and silver. You really need, I hope you've been getting it already. I say, just if you can get $50 a month, $100 a month, start picking it up so you have it. You're going to learn from it and this type of stuff. So that's something that you really need. Food, freeze-dried food, it's something you really need. This is something that we've been talking about in our local community of 400, is food. Most people have food, but we have food for ourselves. We don't have food for the influx of people in case something happens and our population jumps up to 2,000. And so you need to get some food stored. Water purification. Let's see, I don't remember if I talked about what the Berkey, where you can pour the water in the top, and something like that. You need that. Also been using handheld water purifiers. These are things you need to consider. I say don't focus on trying to be a soldier. That's not the main thing. You need a little bit of it. But like I say, your main focus should be the family, and working on, I know most people, they can't relate to the realities of what happens during a shit-hits-fan situation, because most people aren't experienced in it. They're like me, they're more experienced in what happens in their own little world. Health will be a shit-hits-fan situation, and losing your job, these kind of things. But for me to work with people, you have to have the equipment, and it's not military equipment, but it's stuff that military is probably about the maximum that you'd be facing. So you need to have the equipment and work on tactics for something like that. And then once you can do that, then the other stuff is much easier to handle. We need to, like I say, here in the States, I have a really rough time. Now I've started, I've found some pastors that are getting into this kind of stuff. And so I'm starting to work with them and in small groups, because like I say, we're just slowly trying to find the like-minded people and then start giving them things to think about. I say, I don't make people do things. What I've learned is when you put the problem on the table, so everybody can see what the problem is. It's much easier to get people to do the right thing. And I say, I've mentioned understanding Christian values. It's a very big thing. I can see things aren't good. They're really attacking our Constitution. So, and I think in time the younger generation is really pretty wimpy now. The political correctness has really screwed up our younger people. Not having God in the schools, in the courts, and stuff like that. When I say that, what I'm talking about is not having Christian values. When you don't have that, it's really a tough one. So you need to really work on that. In other words, being good to others, learning to help others, and this type of stuff. But at the same time, we're not so naive to understand that these. Not everybody is like-minded when it comes to Christian values. So, in other words, people will hurt you when they get a chance. They hurt you like they report you. You know, I mean, I don't know how many people now spank your kid and they get reported. And you know, I mean, just stupid things have been just been happening. Me personally. If I'm capable of being here in the States, I will be here. And that's only when I'm an asset. And when it comes to the time where I'm not an asset, I will not be a liability. This is one reason why here in the States isn't a good place for me to be a liability. First aid, that's one of the things that you really need to work on, and look at yourself. You need to get everything that you possibly need for you in the way of first aid, medications, ointments, bandages, sutures, just all that stuff. You really need to be working on that. That is a big priority. And I say you have to have enough for you and really enough for your own family. And the reality of the thing is medical care will be limited. Right now, the medical care sucks. I mean, they've really screwed up the system, making everybody think that they need to take medicine. People don't know and understand there's so many, I mean, medicine's what, maybe 120 years old. What do you think humanity did before medicine came around? You know what I mean? So we were able to fix a lot of sicknesses. And a lot of sicknesses we didn't even have. Medicine brought a lot of this stuff. So these are a lot of things that we got to work on as a three-man militia. And I say, I'm not going to go into showing you any more of the stuff that I have. I've upgraded a lot of my stuff. I've stayed away from the electronic stuff. Because I say basics work. And you need to have the basics working in the way of equipment before you can make tactics work. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you and give you a lot of stuff to think about. And like I say, I wish you'd get caught up with me. And but anyway, we need to prepare. There's a lot of bad things coming down the road pretty soon. This is Mike. NoStressMike.com.